and just like talk.
Oh my God, I feel all nervous now. I guess we'll start at the top. What is the reason why we even decided we needed a bit of an impromptu AMA? Last night we had a guy called Neiman who pulled up a bunch of concerns about coupons and odds of winning and all sorts of other things. So before we even get into talking about that and explaining that, thank you very much, Neiman. I think it's very interesting for people to care enough about the drop to want to dig into how it works. And he brought up some interesting thoughts, and he even came up with a suggestion that is quite important in terms of communicating transparently how and why the game is fair. So grateful to Neiman, even though there was a bit of a wall of text, and maybe he needs a cup of tea. But I sent him a DM anyway, just to say, hey, thanks a lot for pointing out some of these things, and we can address them. So here we are. So I will start with kind of the raison d'etre for the drop in the first place. The drop is an engagement tool. So there's a twofold reason why, and I don't expect to speak for Polar, but these are the motives typically we see with partners for why they want the drop. The primary one is engagement. It's about having something for the users in a community to rally around that's wholly positive. And you can see that from the Polar community in the last few days versus this time last week. I think there's something like a 10x engagement in improvement. So in that respect, this has been well received, very happy. The other, and for most people less important reason to have a drop is that it generates revenue for the project. So as you're aware, you buy a ticket, a portion of that ticket is fees, and the lion's share of that fee ends up in the project and for the project team to use for whatever they see fit. Typically, they use it for things like token burns, for paying mod salaries, the sorts of things that keep the project going and keep it moving in a positive direction. So this is a win-win for the project and a win-win for the members of that project going forward. And then, of course, there's prizes. So the moment those prizes get given out, everyone can pat themselves on the back for participating, but some, up to 57 people will end up with a prize that they can brag about. And as Cami alluded to earlier, we like to invite people who won to come forward and have a video prize giving ceremony, like when you see those lotteries give out prizes and someone's there with a big fat check, same sort of thing, so that we can understand that one of our friends in our community won a prize and it's not something unfair. And that brings me kind of to the point. One of the cornerstones of what the drop is about is that it's provably fair. Not that we say it's fair like the lottery or some church raffle that can be fiddled with. It is fair. So the first thing to note on that is that we use the Chainlink VRF. The Chainlink VRF is a random number function. That's what selects who the winners are of each of the prizes. And the VRF is the fairest random number on the planet. Go and look at Chainlink's website and validate why that's the case. They've got long, boring essays to explain it's fair. So the next part is there's a custody chain of those random numbers that means we can't interfere with them. This actually carries through to a few of the limitations of our ability to control the drop. So once that contract opens and people start buying tickets, there's nothing we can do about it. You can't interfere with it. You can't stop it and pause it. You can't do a damn thing until it fills up and it distributes the prizes. It's fire and forget. And that's part of the method by which we generate trust. So when we talk to a new partner, we also give them access to, this is one of the contracts, and you can see the code in the contract. So if they want to go through and have a look at the functions and how it works, etc., free to do that. There are no special anything, no back doors, nothing we can do to fiddle it. The other thing that we can do is you can read the white paper that explains how it works. So having said all that, the central theme of what Neiman's concerns were about is coupons. So I will start with, what is a coupon? So a coupon is a code you put in when we're playing the drop that gives you more entries in the drop than the ticket face value that you paid. So for example, if we had a code for 50% and you buy 10 tickets, you'll receive 15 entries. So 50% bonus entries. Those are effectively diluting the odds of the pool. So instead of there being, for example, 10,000 entries in that pot, there will be now 10,005. So you gain a slight advantage because everybody else has the original odds. So the reason these exist at all is about user engagement. So especially when a product is new, nobody wants to be the first to play. So we give people an early bird access token, and then there is a second phase throughout the game, which we call the Valley of Death. Somewhere around the middle of the game, people don't want to play because it feels like, well, it's not the beginning and we're nowhere near the end, and they start to lose faith. So we give them a coupon in the middle of the game, and then that boosts their confidence and engagement. And suddenly we get to places like we are today. We're at 83%. So everyone can be certain that game's going to close soon, and those prizes are going to be winging their ways into people's wallets very soon. That's the point of why coupons. One of the questions that was asked was, what if somebody has massive coupons? And there's two things here that should alleviate that concern. One is a technical one. So there's a technical limitation with the avalanche chain and the maximum gas a function can use. And there's an iterative function in how we allocate tickets. That means there's a maximum number of tickets you can get from a single transaction. That maximum is about 300, which means no matter what you do, there's a hard limit of how big a coupon could possibly be because it would break the contract. Then the other point is, from a fairness point of view, it's not in our interests, it's not in Polar's interest, and it's not in your interests for anyone to have a ridiculously undue advantage over anyone else, or for us to implant anyone who isn't part of your communities who could win those prizes. So from a short-term view, sure, I'm sure there are some people with a very short-sighted view of the world that would go, hey, what if we could just get the 20 grand prize? The problem is that you would then have a collection of people who we want to play next week who are upset that someone they don't know won all the prizes. So it's in our interests and in Polar's interests and yours for everyone to play a game that's fair and to play a game that they want to come back to next week because they won prizes. We need you to have people you know, or for you to have won a prize, so that you understand that the game is fair and so that you continue to play. And this kind of brings us to the long-term point of the drop. There are multiple communities involved in a drop. It is a shared competition. The same as you wouldn't go to the gas station to buy a lottery ticket if the lottery was just for that gas station. The prizes would be small. So while the prizes for this are okay, there's a 20 grand top prize, in my eyes, that's not life-changing money. That's I'll buy a new car money, or I won't pay rent for the rest of the year money, or I'm going to have a great fucking holiday money. But it's not life-changing money. And the whole point of what the drop is about is if we collect together lots of communities and they're all engaged in a game that's fun, engaging, and fair, then we'll have lots more people who want to participate. And you imagine if there's 100,000 people one week who want to play the game, and the average spend means that the prizes are $1 million, we will creep in the direction of bigger and bigger and bigger prizes that cycle faster. So you end up with a game that's more attractive and more engaging and more rewarding to all of those communities. That's the point of what it's about. And that's why also long term, it's in our interest to make sure the game is fair and to make sure there are no methods by which to make it unfair. So the concern about the coupons came because Neiman, I think, was contacted by someone who was given a larger code than other people. And I'll explain why he was given a larger code. Now, the code shouldn't have been shared. The entire point was that it was corrective. Some of you may have had the experience where you put in a coupon code and the dialog box comes up with a green tick saying, yes, the coupon code is valid, but you did your transaction and you didn't receive any bonus tickets. So I think somebody had put in for buying 50 tickets expecting to get 75 and they only got 50. So they opened a ticket, and to rectify the situation, we gave them a temporary code that was intended to give them a much bigger kickback. I think it was 125%, so that if they could go and make another purchase, they would end up with net the correct amount of tickets that they should have had from the original one, and then we could cancel the code. The reason we had to do it this way is because the whole thing's on the blockchain. We can't go back and go, hey, that person was meant to have a code and edit the blockchain. That's literally the opposite of the function of the blockchain in the first place. The whole thing's an irrefutable ledger. So we can only do things retrospective to correct things, and hopefully nobody shares these things. This has created a feature request for one of our devs, which is single-use codes. So if in the rare example that we have to do that again because somebody feels like they got cheated because they were told the code is valid, it wasn't at the time, they will have an ability to correct that doesn't require cheating the blockchain itself, which is impossible, and doesn't allow someone to share it and therefore other people to seek an unfair advantage as opposed to just correcting something they were morally engaged in and sort of aware of they should have had, so people don't end up butthurt. That's kind of the point of what it was about. But another thing that Neiman's post kind of brought up was perhaps people need a way to have better visibility of what the odds currently are. So I can pull from the contract right this second how many tickets there actually are in existence versus how many there are on that have been sold. So there are 20,052 tickets on the platform for 16,661 sold. So there's roughly 19% more tickets. So if you understand the coupon situation, that means that most people aren't using a coupon and nobody's using one with a drastic multiplier apart from the 3 or 4 people who had that issue with a ticket in the first place. We'll find a way to expose that so you can see how many tickets, but you can I'll share the correct contract interaction so that the Polar team can at least see that and assure you that there isn't someone out there with 1 billion tickets out of a $20,000 prize, because that would be ridiculous and unfair, and that's the last thing we need. I don't think there's anything else on the list of Neiman questions that I have to address. But above all, thanks for you guys engaging. This is your first drop. Totally understand that people would have concerns, and we're happy to answer them anytime. Our imperative is that you have fun, you have something to rally around, and that a bunch of you win prizes you can spend on new cars and strip clubs or whatever it is that excites you. And then next week we come back and have another game.
Yeah, so it looks like that's it. We appreciate you guys coming out and answering the community's concerns. We appreciate that, and we're happy with our partnership so far as well. As you said,
Yeah,
everything's going smooth.
I'm just looking forward to this closing. Looks like it will be in the next few days, and
Yeah,
then we can work out what kind of engagement boost we got, do some analytics, tell the community who won all the prizes. Hopefully we can get a bunch of the people who won prizes to come and claim them. We'd love to do some interviews with them, find out what their play strategy was, those sorts of things. And of course, we can also look at what the contribution to the Polar project was in terms of money as well, because I'm sure that will help the project move forward, and we look forward to all the advancements going on and the switch to BSC.
definitely. Well, if anyone has any questions, please let us know. All right, looks like there's no questions. So yeah, so thank you guys for coming out, and we'll see you guys whenever we see you guys.
Right.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.